Meteorologist Jackson Chastain here with the latest edition of Weatherwise. Now, last week we kind of talked a little bit about inversions, some of those different types of inversions. Something that's a little bit more winter related is an effect called cold air damming. Now, I'm just going to review what an inversion is before we break that down. But basically all you're seeing here is you got warm air. Typically, in a typical situation, you've got warm air near the surface, you got cold air aloft. And what happens is that warm air tends to rise because it's warmer, it's less dense than that cold air, and as a result, you'll often get things like showers, you'll get things like thunderstorms, and that's how we get a lot of our convective activity throughout the year. Now, when it comes to cold air damming, think about the density and just how cold this air is, because really what's happening, well, first of all, with an inversion, you're getting warmer air aloft, and it's kind of sandwiched between two layers of colder air. That's what's happening with an inversion, and as a result, you cannot get really any kind of rising air going. You can't get anything escaping out of this inversion layer. And as I mentioned last week, things can really get trapped. So smoke, haze, things that can affect your lungs, that can get trapped. Now, in cold air damming, what's happening here is that you have colder, denser air that's kind of rushing into like a mountain valley. It's rushing into the sides of that mountain, and it cannot escape. And because it cannot escape, you tend to get colder air that's kind of stuck inside of this valley, colder temperatures stuck inside of this valley. What can happen, in fact, is if you have, for example, a rain shower, warmer air aloft that forms rain clouds, that rain will fall through the layer, but once it gets to this colder air, it will become something called supercool, where basically it's below freezing, but it hasn't frozen into water yet. And what happens is if that supercool water touches a surface, for example, it will freeze on contact. So that's what's known as freezing rain in the weather world. And so you can really get a lot of freezing rain with this cold air damming. Oftentimes you can also get, you can sometimes get sleet, you can sometimes get snow, but it's really that freezing rain that is the area of concern. Now, this has been the latest edition of Weatherwise. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to post those to our Facebook, to our Twitter. You can send us an email, but otherwise, you guys have a great one.
Weatherwise is brought to you by Fort County Electric Power Association.